Muir Island.
If this is Scotland, it stinks.
Muir Island isn't a million miles from the Arctic Circle, Storm. The average temperature at this time of year is -10, and the average day lasts around 5 hours. If you're looking for Highland tours in Edinburgh Rock, I'm afraid you've come to the wrong place, dear. Where are the rest of you, incidentally? I thought Charles said he was feeding and clothing 7 little Xmen now.
Cyclops and Marvel Girl are in Russia, Dr. McTaggart. The professor thinks Colossus might have been kidnapped, and they've both been assigned to bring him home. It's a pleasure to meet you, by the way.
Not under these circumstances, it isn't. What's wrong with your beloved mentor anyway, Beast? Is he jet-lagged?
No, just conducting a psychic search for your missing son, ma'am. In astral form, the professor can cover ground at a little over Mach 3.
Really? Well, that's more concern than he ever showed for the boy when we were married, young man. To be honest, I thought he'd have relished the opportunity to crow about me losing him.
You know, I still can't get my head around the idea that the professor had a wife and kid he never told us about. Never mind this other school in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, nobody knows what's going on in Charlie's head, Iceman. Even after 15 years of marriage, I felt like I was only scratching at the surface. As for this place, well, it's actually a few months older than the New York operation, although our mutants here are more like patients than students, as you can see for yourselves. The people who fund Charles' work hope that some of them will graduate to the Westchester facility, of course, but I'm afraid that's still a long way off for even the best of them.
What do you mean, the people who fund his work? Xavier told us he paid for the school, the planes, and all the other stuff out of the money his parents left him.
Really? Well, that must have been quite an inheritance, Storm. Who did he tell you his mother and father were? Bill and Melinda Gates?
Listen, why don't you just fill us in on whatever we need to know to bring this kid of yours back safely, Doc?
What can I say, Wolverine? David was just your typical little boy when Charles and I were together. Average size, average intellect, a devoted Glasgow Rangers fan. Of course, we always knew he was carrying the X gene, but his powers didn't actually manifest until the day after his father left, and our lives were thrown into turmoil. As far as we could ascertain, David had a very limited control of the matter around his person, but even the slightest use of these abilities had a devastating effect on his physical body. My son would have been dead in a week if we hadn't kept him sedated on haloperidol all these years and locked him in a lab where we could monitor him carefully. Why he started to convulse again last night, I still can't say, but I doubt it's a coincidence that his father was back in Britain with his nice little surrogate family. Unfortunately, this convulsion turned out to be the fatal one, and he'd have died right there on the operating table if he hadn't jumped into poor Isabel McLinden.
Jumped?
Yes, transferred his consciousness from his mind into hers. I'm sorry, Wolverine. Could you give me a moment? This only just happened last night, and it's all still very raw.
Well, according to Cerebro, your son's managed a further 3 jumps since he escaped from the compound, Doctor. He's currently somewhere in the Grampian region, but we should have this narrowed down to the nearest square mile inside 60 to 90 minutes.
Oh, pardon my manners, Xmen. I'd like you to meet Strike Agent Di Thomas and Colonel Betsy Braddock of Psi Division.
No need to introduce Henry McCoy, Dr. MacTaggart. I've read his strike file in great detail, and believe me, he looks even more magnificent when you meet him in person.
Who the heck are Strike?
The British division of the espionage agency S.H.I.E.L.D., young Iceman. Just imagine me as a kind of real-life Welsh James Bond, and you're halfway there, eh?
What the heck are the Welsh?
A quaint little people just west of England, Iceman. Picture the Scots without the sex appeal or the Irish without the laughs, and you've pretty much got them nailed.
Very bloody amusing, I don't think, Agent Braddock.
If you're all quite finished.
He's in Aberdeen. What?
David is on foot at 8 miles outside the city of Aberdeen on the A90 motorway, people. If we leave now, I'll be close enough to subdue him before he reaches the city center.
Right.
Hello again, Moira.
Hello, Charles.
Aberdeen!
The K-14 vessel, carrying a crew of 69 Russian sailors, is trapped 15 miles from the coast of Murmansk. But rescue workers are said to be cautiously optimistic.
Holy mother of God! That's just like the submarine disaster a couple of years ago, isn't it? When did all this happen, Graham?
Last night, Morag. It was all over the papers this morning. They're saying it's going to happen again and again, too, because all the Russians' Cold War stock is absolutely falling to...
2 cheeseburgers, a large fries, a big ice cream with 100 and thousands of toppings, and
Pepsi Max?
Could you hold on a minute? I can't seem to think straight here. It's kind of like... Is somebody doing something to my mind?
Stay where you are and remain perfectly calm, David. Let your body go limp and close your eyes. My students here will get you safely home to Mother.
The professor's right, Bub. Believe me, I know it ain't fun being cooped up in a secure unit, but a good kid like you doesn't want to go around hurting people like this.
Oh, aye? And what makes you such an authority? You know even less about me than that baldy clown in the wheelchair out there.
Professor!
Oh! For your information, hurting people is just about the only laughs I get these days.
Holy jeez! I tried to be nice, I really did. But you had to make me do this the hard way, huh?
Ah, shut up and stop trying to sound like Clint Eastwood. You're talking to a guy who can see you sitting in the garden 6 weeks ago, writing poetry about that silly wee redhead.
This is bad, Beast. Telepathic contact with Wolverine is down and replaced with some kind of nervous static.
I don't understand. What does that mean?
One great big bloody headache.
An adamantium skeleton? A healing factor that regrows soft tissue as fast as I can burn it up? I think I've just found my new home, Mom and Dad.
Listen up. If Xavier's down, I'm assuming temporary leadership, people. Iceman, you're up next. Storm and Betsy, you're covering Iceman. I don't want this any more than you do, David, but I'll hurt you if I have to. Let's be sensible about this and catch the next helicopter back to Muir Island, my friend.
I'm not going back to that bloody dump. You're the one who should be locked up, you big, stupid-looking ape. Recognize your old pals, Beast? These are the boys who used to make your life a misery on the way home from school every day, mate. What was it they used to call you again? Monkey Boy? Joe Bananas? Man, Storm should be arrested for even giving you a second look, freak show.
Oh my God.
Leave him alone, you jerk!
Speaking of Storm, here's the boy who cries himself to sleep every night over his best pal's girlfriend. Oh, aye. It's amazing what you find in the recesses of the human mind, Iceman. I mean, who'd have thought that a big boy like you would still wet the bed sometimes when you dream about that fight with Magneto in the Brotherhood, eh? Ah! What in God's name was that?
Storm just hit you with a lightning bolt, David. Quite pleasant compared to what's coming up next, though. I've never had a psychic grenade tossed into my brain before, but my ex couldn't talk for a week one time when I hit him with just a tiny little one.
You witch! You bloody evil witch! I'm gonna break every bone in your body for that, you cow!
Not tonight you're not, mate. You're sick, you're tired, and you're getting a bit wobbly on your feet, to be honest. You're going back to your sickbed, young man.
Not a chance!
David, please! You're going to die if you don't stop using your powers like this! Your body's gonna burn up!
One thing the world isn't short of is bodies, Mom.
David! What are you doing?
Just seeing how tough your pal Wolverine here really is, of course.
St. Petersburg.
Do you really think it's a good idea heading into Russia right now, Gene? Suppose they're needing us back there.
Oh, don't be silly, Scott. So another teenager's having trouble with his mutant abilities. What's the worst that could happen? Besides, the professor and I both had the same gut feeling that finding Colossus was essential to whatever comes next. And it's highly unlikely we're both off the mark, right?
I just hope he's got nothing to do with his sub going down near the White Sea. I'll kill him if he was behind this thing. Going back to his old Russian mob connections is one thing, but if this submarine disaster is some stupid stunt he's cooked up with the Brotherhood, I'm going to...
Hold that thought, Mr. Summers. That psychic vapor trail I've been following has just got so pungent, I think I'm gonna gag. Colossus must be standing within a half-mile radius of the car.
I still can't believe Wolverine volunteered me for this mission. I thought he'd have jumped at the chance for a few days on his own with you in the middle of nowhere.
Not anymore, he wouldn't. According to Storm, Wolverine thinks he really wronged me when he first joined the team, and now he's just hanging around to protect me like some kind of noble samurai.
You mean he's given up the chase? There's nothing going on between you two anymore?
Nope, absolutely nada. I'm a freewheeling single girl reveling in her status as footloose and fancy-free, Mr. Summers. 100% available and open to offers from eligible single men. You know, sometimes I swear those ruby quartz sunglasses have absolutely blinded you, Scott.
Hey, there he is!
Colossus!
Oh, no.
Thank God you're okay, Peter.
Why the heck did you disappear like that, man? Everybody thought you'd been kidnapped or something.
I left because I am tired of being ignored, tired of being underappreciated, and tired of Xavier's insane pacifist ideas, Cyclops. Now get lost, eh? Some of us have real jobs to go to.
At least we know he didn't sink the submarine.
Betsy, it's Di. What's the situation down there?
What do you think? A total bloody mess. He drove the truck off the side of the bridge and created a pileup going back 5 miles towards Dundee. He could be anywhere now, Di. Anywhere or anyone, and my head's too garbled to put a psychic trace on him. How do we find the little swine now?
To be honest, I don't think finding him's going to be much of a problem. Just organize the rescue teams and give yourself a pat on the back, Betsy. You did a great job back there, love.
Now give me some good news, lads. Is Wolverine okay?
I think so, Inspector. His healing factor always seems to repair head injuries first, so I expect we'll get an answer in a minute, once his mouth and vocal cords grow back.
My God, would you look at him? It's like an autopsy in reverse. It's really quite beautiful, isn't it, Charles?
Wolverine, can you hear me? Listen carefully, my friend, because this is very important. Can you open your mind and get past all your Weapon X defenses? Because we need to make sure that David is completely out of your system.
Your kid wants you dead, Charlie. He wants to hurt you so bad it scares me, bub.